the day my life began. For years, I lived like a shadow in my husband's house. My mother-in-law ruled like a queen, her voice sharper than any blade. She insulted me at every meal, questioned my every step, and turned my silence into chains. I thought patience was strength, but in truth, I was drowning in fear. That morning, the storm broke. She accused me of something I had not done, of disrespecting her, of being unworthy of her son. Her words poured like acid, burning the last shreds of my dignity. My hands trembled, but my heart beat louder than her voice. She raised her hand to strike me, as she had done before. But this time, something inside me snapped. I caught her wrist midair. The look of shock in her eyes gave me courage I never knew I had. Without hesitation, my palm landed on her cheek. Loud, final, undeniable. The room fell silent. My husband froze, the servants gasped, even the air seemed to pause. For the first time, I stood taller than my fear. My mother-in-law staggered back, her pride wounded more than her face. In that electric silence, I felt reborn. I was no longer the girl who swallowed her pain. I was a woman who demanded respect. My voice shook, but it was clear, no more. From today, I will live on my terms. That moment was not just rebellion, it was liberation. The fear that had chained me for years dissolved into dust. My heart pounded, but not with terror, with triumph. The day I slapped my mother-in-law was not the day I destroyed my life. It was the day I finally began to live it. And though the road ahead promised battles, I knew one thing: I would never bow again. After some time, footsteps approached him. The sound was soft, cautious, as if someone was moving carefully, afraid of being heard by the enemy. A faint light stopped beside him. The glow of a lantern fell across his face. His closed eyes twitched slightly as if they recognized the warmth. Hands reached out and lifted him. Slim but strong arms pulled him out from under the broken cart. Dust clung to his wounded body, but those hands held him with unshaken resolve. The soldier was half unconscious. His lips were dry, his breathing heavy. Suddenly, a few drops of cold water touched his mouth. A faint sound escaped his throat, as if he was still fighting to stay alive. Then a hurried whisper came close to his ear. "Stay strong, don't give up yet." The soldier tried to open his eyes, but only darkness and blur appeared before him. His head fell weakly to the side. The steps carrying him grew faster. With each stride, the lantern's flame swayed. His wounded body nearly slipped many times, but the firm arms never let him fall. Far away, the enemy's shouts echoed through the night. Going closer would mean death. Yet the arms that carried him did not tremble. They only gripped tighter, determined. Through fear and shadows, the soldier's broken body was moving toward a hidden refuge, a place where the lantern of hope was still burning. The shepherd girl brought the soldier into her hut. Outside, the night was dark and filled with the enemy's shouts echoing from near and far. Inside, the faint lantern light trembled, as if even its flame was shaken by the war. The soldier's body burned with fever. His breaths were heavy, his eyes clouded with half-consciousness. With trembling hands, the girl cleaned his wounds. The cool touch of water brushed his lips, and they moved slightly. She whispered softly, "Stay quiet. You're not safe yet, but I won't let anything happen to you." As the night passed, she sat close to him, humming old songs, sometimes telling stories of the stars, sometimes sharing memories of her childhood. Slowly, the soldier's eyes began to open. In the blur, he saw her face, strange yet familiar, a stranger with eyes that carried both fear and courage. The soldier's cracked voice asked, "Why are you carrying my burden? The enemy will punish you." She placed her finger gently on his lips. "Silence, you must live." Suddenly, noise rose outside. The enemy had come closer to the village. One of them shouted, "Whoever hides the soldier will not live." The girl trembled, but the soldier held her hand. Even in weakness, his fingers had strength. He whispered, "Do not be afraid. I will fight, even if it is with my last breath." Tears welled in her eyes, but in those tears there was more resolve than fear. In that moment, an unspoken bond formed between them, a bond of love and sacrifice. In the middle of the dark night, The hut was no longer just a shelter. It had become a new battlefield of hope and resistance. The pale light of dawn had barely spread when a terrifying noise shook the village. Enemy soldiers had reached the outskirts. Their shouting voices sent waves of fear into every hut. A loud call echoed. "We know the wounded soldier is among you. If he is not handed over, the entire village will be burned." That threat spread like fire through every corner of the village. Mothers clutched their children tightly, the elders trembled, and the young men stood frozen between fear and anger. Footsteps approached closer and closer to the shepherd girl's fragile hut. Inside, the soldier struggled to sit up. His wounds had not healed, yet there was a new light in his eyes. He looked at the girl and said, "They fear me because they know the truth. I can still fight, even with my last breath." The girl's voice shook as she replied, "If they discover you here, they will kill you at once, and they won't spare me either." The soldier took her hand. Though his voice was tired, it carried determination. "If you stand with me, we can defeat fear. This war is not only mine, it is your test as well." Outside, the pounding of enemy horses grew louder. Their boots struck the ground like drums of death. Any moment now, fists would slam on the wooden door. The villagers, torn by fear, whispered among themselves. Should they protect their homes and children, or give up the soldier to save themselves? But in the shepherd girl's eyes, fear had already turned into resolve. She knew that after this night, everything would change. Either the village would burn in flames, or a new flame of hope would rise. At the edge of the village, the enemy's roar shook the air. The moment everyone had feared had finally come. The soldier, though still wounded, had a fierce light burning in his eyes. With trembling steps, he steadied himself and gripped his sword. The shepherd girl stood before the door, holding it firm with her hands. The enemy soldiers stormed inside, torches blazing in their fists and cruelty burning in their eyes. One of them shouted, "The wounded soldier is here. Hand him over, or we will burn everything you own." The villagers trembled in silence, but the girl stepped forward. Her voice shook, yet her words struck like fire. "Even if you take this soldier, remember this: his spirit will live long after his blood is gone." The soldier placed a hand on her shoulder and whispered, "Now it is my time. Do not step back. We will fight together." The enemy advanced, and the soldier gathered his final strength. Steel clashed, echoing through the fragile hut as his sword struck against theirs. His wounded body staggered, but each strike carried the weight of his unbroken will. The girl seized a wooden staff lying nearby and charged at the invaders. Her courage ignited the soldiers' fire even more. Blow after blow, they held their ground, refusing to surrender. The villagers, witnessing this defiance, could no longer remain silent. One by one, they picked up sticks, tools, whatever they could find, and rushed to join the fight. The enemy had never expected a wounded soldier and a village girl to awaken an entire community. Their torches wavered, screams replaced their shouts, and the night turned from fear into fury. That night, which was meant to mark death and destruction, became the spark of resistance, lit by a soldier's will and a girl's unyielding heart. The climax and resolution. The school festival sparkled with lights and laughter, but for Ji-hoon, it felt like the end. Whispers trailed him through every corridor, eyes followed like daggers. His sketchbook had become a weapon against him, his bond with Min-jae a scandal too heavy to bear. He stood alone behind the gym, suitcase already packed. "I can't stay here," he whispered to himself. "I've destroyed his life. Better if I disappear." But on the main stage, Min-jae stood frozen, watching the crowd cheer for the basketball team's performance. His teammates smiled, his fans waved, but his chest felt empty. He knew Ji-hoon was leaving, and if he stayed silent, he'd lose him forever. The moment cracked inside him. He grabbed the microphone. The music cut off. The crowd turned curious. Min-jae's voice trembled at first, then steadied with fire. "You all think you know me, the golden boy, the perfect student, but you don't. The truth is, I like Ji-hoon. Gasps ripped through the audience. Teachers paled. Students murmured like an earthquake building. Min Jae's eyes scanned the crowd, then found Ji-hoon standing at the edge, stunned. He didn't ruin me. He saved me. For once, I'm not smiling for you. I'm smiling for him. Hate me if you want, but I won't hide anymore. The climax exploded. Some students shouted, others fell silent. The festival lights flickered above them, casting long shadows. Ji-hoon felt his chest tighten. Shame, fear, and something stronger. Hope. He stepped forward, tears burning in his eyes. Min Jae, and then, in front of the entire school, Min Jae reached for his hand. Ji-hoon hesitated, then gripped it tight. The crowd erupted into chaos, but neither cared. Side by side, they walked off the stage, hand in hand. The future was uncertain, the path dangerous. But for the first time, they were fearless. Together. After the night's battle and the enemy's retreat, silence spread across the village. But it was not a silence of peace. It was the silence of exhaustion. Burned houses filled the air with smoke. Broken trees lay scattered, and the wounded cried softly. Yet there was one truth. They were alive. The soldier lay in the corner of a small hut. His wounds were bandaged, but his body still trembled with pain. His eyes were half open, yet his heart felt strangely calm. He knew that without this girl, he would not be alive today. The shepherd girl sat beside him. Her hands were bruised, her face tired, but her eyes carried a glow of strength. In a gentle voice, she said, "I saved you, but the truth is you saved us all." The soldier smiled weakly and whispered, "No, you gave me hope, and that was my true strength." At that moment, their eyes met. No sound of bullets, no enemy shouts. Only two hearts grateful for each other. In that silence, a tenderness grew, as if love could bloom even in the shadow of war. The climax came when the soldier slowly reached out and held her hand. "Promise me, when the war is over, I will return to you." The girl's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled softly. "I will wait for you." Just then, the first ray of sunlight entered the hut. It lit their faces gently, as if the dawn itself was blessing their promise. A new morning, a new hope, and the beginning of a quiet love.